Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Asha and today I'm going to be doing a video all about eyebrows. So I am wearing different makeup, just an FYI. This is an intro to a video that I filmed and I realized that my intro didn't film correctly. Don't know why, but anyway. If you guys want to see my tips and tricks on how I do my eyebrows, then just keep watching. Cool. So one of my first steps before I kind of get on with my eyebrows is I actually highlight my brow bone. And I use my big brush because I actually want it to kind of like be diffused. So I just use a little bit of highlight and I actually just brush it through the eyebrow. And then I would clean my eyebrows off so I can start nice and fresh. So we're just going to use a little bit of makeup remover. I'm going to use the 2-in-1 Express Eye Makeup Remover, the one that you shake. And I just make sure that my actual hair is clean. Look how much product has come off my eyebrows. So imagine just working with a dirty surface, like no. And then on the other end of my cotton bud, I'm just going to use some water just to dissolve any of those oils, because obviously those oils will infuse into the makeup if you don't get rid of them. I'm just going to use now a cotton pad just to take off any excess product and water. So I'm just going to go ahead and use your favorite eyebrow tool. I really like this one. This is the Brow Groomer by, or it's actually called the Definer / Groomer by Chanel. It's got your spoolie and then it's also got this like angled end as well. So I do realize that my eyebrows are really full, but the techniques that I'm going to show you guys today are going to be based on shape, are going to be based on technique as well. So maybe one day I'll get a model in here and do their eyebrows and you guys can see, you know, the tips as well that I'm going to use on somebody with sparse eyebrows. But to be honest with you, I do all of these techniques on myself and on other people. So yeah. Also with eyebrows, it's completely up to you what you prefer. If you want to stop at any point and do that, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to give you a few tips and there'll be some that you might not want to do because they might make your eyebrows look fuller. So obviously do whichever way you like. There is no absolute rules with makeup. You can just have a play and try out some of these techniques. So my first tip is basically trying to align your eyebrows with your face. Now, some people, like myself, are not symmetrical and it's very unlikely that you are. So your eyebrows are usually what we call sisters, not twins. But you want to try and make them look as similar as possible, you know. But when you look at my eyebrows, you can see that this one grows in a little bit closer. There's more hair. And the arch of this one is higher. So this arch is a bit higher and this arch is a little bit lower. But it's only ever so slightly and I only really notice it because I do this, you know, for a living. I have shaped my eyebrows so that they are nice and clean and yeah, basically tweeze them myself. I don't wax them because I've had a major waxing disaster in the past, so I don't do that. But I do pluck them myself. But the main thing that I was going to say is with your hair growth, you do want to try and keep as much hair as possible, but you want this under here to be quite clean. So all of that should be really nicely clean. Obviously, some people, you know, have been to a salon and like years and years ago or overplucked their eyebrows when they're a teenager, and they don't really have the privilege of being able to keep your eyebrow like line nice and clean. But if you do, I would definitely recommend going and getting threading done by somebody that does look at symmetry as well. And make sure you get somebody that actually maps out your eyebrows and then waxes or whatever other hair removal you prefer. But I think threading looks really, really nice and precise. Obviously, I can't do threading on myself either. I know that there's techniques that you can do on your own, but I prefer not to. So I just pluck, which takes me a bit of time, but you know. As you can see, I have let my eyebrows grow a little bit longer on the top up here as well. Now, because I've got quite thick eyebrows, if I wanted to, I could actually take off like a layer or a row, if you will, of that hair right there. So I could do that too if I really wanted to, but I don't because I like them nice and thick. But you'll see once I fill them in, that could be too thick. Another tip as well for plucking is most of the time we have a lot of hair that grows all the way down to here. Like if I wanted to let my eyebrow actually grow out, it'd probably grow till there. I know, crazy. But as soon as you kind of shape it to the point that it's up rather than down, that's when it's going to look more like, I was going to say fancy. More flattering. You've got more space here for eyeshadow to kind of pull out, even a wing, but it actually opens the eye a little bit more because as soon as you frame your face too downward, I'm going to see if I can pretend. Do you see what I mean? It's like not going to open it. So you're better off to actually pluck a lot of that and keep your tail real little. But obviously everybody's different, so again, totally up to you. But yeah, that is something else that I look at as well. It shouldn't go round from here, because a lot of people you see, it's like straight to there and then it kind of like starts tucking in early. Just let it kind of naturally start tucking. You'll see your hair naturally kind of rounds off. And that's when you would start pulling from underneath here. Next thing as well is the closer your eyebrows are, the smaller the bridge of your nose looks. Now I do have a wonky nose, so obviously, you know, it's harder for me to kind of like straighten it out. But I do believe that the closer you bring your eyebrows together, the smaller this part of your nose looks. Now, even though I've got a wonky nose, my bridge is pretty small. But I'm going to insert some photos of me from like 10 years ago. And before I used to pluck my eyebrows and I used to take it away till there. You'll have to look at the photos. These are the pictures of me from a few years ago, and if you compare them to me now, you'll see me now looking, you know, a little bit more, like my nose just looks a little bit more tucked. As you can see, they're definitely not twins. They are 100% sisters even after plucking and trying to get them exact. So now it's going to be up to my eyebrow pencil. My personal favorite is the Micro Precise Brow Pencil. It just comes with a really little brush. It's probably going to be a little bit dirty, but a tiny little head as well. So that's what I prefer to fill in my eyebrows and just kind of get that definition. So what I'm going to do is, you can either start with the arch or start with underneath. It doesn't really matter, but I prefer to start underneath just to kind of like get the symmetry right. So first of all, what I'm going to do is lift my eyebrow up so I can actually get under there. I'm just going to draw a straight line following where my eyebrow actually is growing from. Now, if you have a little bit of an uneven bottom, just the main thing that you want to do is, it does want to be on a subtle angle. You don't want it to be like straight like that, unless you're going for something that's a little bit more straight. Like obviously it's completely up to you, but I do prefer a little bit of an angle. Not as much of an angle as, let's say, my eyeliner. As you can see, my eyeliner is like quite down. That's my eyeliner angle. There's my eyebrow angle. So it's more just so that the length is working towards the upper temple. And I'm actually putting quite a lot of color there because I know that I can brush it through later. Now I'm going to bring my eyebrows a little bit closer together because I do prefer that look. I want my nose, the bridge of my nose to look a bit smaller. So you'll see a lot of people will follow see how there's like shadow here, and then their shadow connects to their eyebrow, and then they start their eyebrow here. Now that's like an old beauty therapist technique. They used to say from the outer part of your nostril to the inner corner of your eye to the eyebrow is where your eyebrow should start, and as you can see, that's quite a lot of difference from where I've drawn it. Whereas what it should be is actually from the kind of ball of your nose or the middle of your nostril, and that's where your eyebrow should start. And as you can see, that's where I've got mine started. If you don't do this, try it out and see how you go. If you don't have enough hair there already and it's like, oh, try and grow it back, and if you can't, then don't try it too much. Like don't overdo it too much, because then it will be very obvious. So just see how close you can get them. Obviously you don't want them too close because then it'll be very unnatural looking. So there is a fine line between how close you want your eyebrows. And then I'm going to fill the rest of my brow in that section. My strokes are super soft and are hardly touching my skin. I'm actually just following where the thickest part of my hair is, and I'm actually not drawing up as far as the baby little growth. I've got some growth up here, but imagine how thick my eyebrows would be if I did that. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to follow here. If you have any gaps in this section, like any actual like gaps, as you can see I haven't actually filled it in there, you can. Or if you want it to look really, really full, go for it. I don't like filling right in this area because my hair is really long and really thick there. But I do like to fill in this area, which is my hair growing upwards, and it can be a bit sparse. So I do fill that area in, if that makes sense. You'll see what I mean as I go. Okay, now you can see I've got quite a lot of gappiness and stuff here, and naturally my hair does kind of come down a little bit like that. So I am going to fill that area in because let's say accidentally I stroke my face later on, and even though my eyebrow setting is pretty immaculate and doesn't really move, if I accidentally moved it, at least it would be filled in there. So I'm going to actually fill this entire area in right here where my hair all grows from underneath. Again, if you've got finer hair, just follow where you actually want your shape to be. Cool, so that's all filled in. And then now my tail. So just brush everything upward the way I would set it and just see where my eyebrow is finished. I'm just getting under my hair now. Again, just brush. My brushing is also trying not to get anything on my skin. So now you can kind of see the end of my eyebrows not looking as perfect. So what I'm going to do is use a very tiny little brush. Now this is literally an old brush. I use it for this type of thing, but it's super teeny tiny. So find something that's really small. I couldn't tell you what this is because it's so old. Normally I would use my Tarte Shape Tape for concealer, but for my eyebrow, I actually like to use a thicker, like a little bit of a drier formula. So I've got my tiny little brush, and now I'm just going to go ahead and carve out the shape, and you end up getting like a little bit of a lift from it as well. By the way, there is hardly any on my brush, just enough to carve it. Now with the light, I can still see there's some sparseness in here, so what I'm going to do is just brush my eyebrow hair down and fill in those sparse areas. By the way, my eyebrows usually don't take very long, so this is quite funny for me to just be going so slow to show you guys. So now I'm using the spoolie, and I'm actually touching the skin quite a bit with the spoolie at this point, and I am rubbing off excess around the edges. It always looks better when my eyebrows are like a little bit more fluffy and soft at the front, and then get stronger and more defined at the end. So that is the difference between my eyebrows as well. Filled in and not filled in. Again, quite natural. Now I'm just going to use that concealer. So I just put it on the back of my hand, and it's literally the smallest amount of concealer. Like I'm basically just drawing it on my hand. I'm not even putting a blob. I'm taking the brush and just kind of like wiping it through. Now I'm just going to go ahead and carve out the bottom of my eyebrow. So right in this corner, I'm just going to put a good amount of concealer there just to soften that corner. I'm now going to use the powder from inside this eyebrow pencil, and I don't like it to be too much, so I'm just using the little tip, and I'm actually just tapping off any excess as well, and this just helps it all come together, sweeping that spoolie through just to dust it off a little bit. So one of my absolute favorite products is this ABH Brow Freeze. It's amazing. You know how people are using soap and stuff? This is like the same stuff, but like a thick gel. I have to make sure that my eyebrows are brushed in place first, because once I put this stuff in, it's basically in. I'm taking a little dollop, and I actually push that into my hand and then go like this into the spoolie. If the spoolie's got too much on it, it will look terrible. I only put it on one half of the spoolie, and then I'll use the other side to brush it through. So brush upwards. Because this stuff is so thick, you seriously don't need much, and I'm telling you guys I use the smallest amount. So I'm brushing it through currently, and then I'm using the other side to push the hair down into place. And then I might even just spike up these a little bit, and then I'll get my little scissors out if I need to and give them a trim, just like that. So that's one of the ways that I do my eyebrows. I'm going to show you on the other side some other techniques that I like to use, and maybe some other products. So this is by Mellow, and it is called the Brow Pomade. I've got the colour in chocolate, and I'm actually going to fill in this eyebrow with pomade just to show you guys the difference, and if you prefer it, that's cool. I'm going to use this tiny little angled brush as well, and we're just going to pop it in. Now I like to kind of get my brush in there and take quite a lot of product, then push it onto the back of my hand like that to make it real super fine. The other thing about pomade is it does dry quite quickly, so me talking is not helping. You can draw little wee lines with pomade. I'm only mimicking very soft touches of lines. I don't want to actually have line, because that's not my vibe. I also am going to use the tip of it to do the under of my eyebrow. Now, with pomade, it's stronger, like the colour is stronger, but it's so fast. I'm going to do the exact same filling technique that I did with my pencil, but this time with the pomade. Okay, for the tail, I'm just going to make sure that my eyebrow is all out of the way. I usually get a lot closer to the mirror, but obviously I don't want you guys to miss out on what's going on. But usually I'm like this. So it's actually quite hard for me. I'm like looking from very far away. I just drew the edge and then move the hair up and I'm just going to fill in up here. As you can see, the fill is a little bit stronger than the other side with the pomade. Again, I'm going to use a small spoolie just to soften the front because I don't like the front looking too heavy. And then the flat. Cool, so that is all filled in. We're going to do the concealer technique again. You could also use your foundation, by the way. Okay, so this is very random and you don't have to do this, but I actually like to do it because otherwise my eyebrows, I just feel like they're too square. Even though they're like more sparse in here and like softer, I just don't like how square they look. So I literally get my concealer brush with like old concealer and I just push. And I know people find this very strange. They're like, what are you doing? You're ruining everything. But there's like nothing really on here except for a tiny little bit. And then another favorite product of mine, another Anastasia, is called the Anastasia, what is this even called? This color is called Ebony. Really good for people with black hair, but don't want their eyebrows to be like severe. So it's basically the darkest of black browns you can get. And this is good for somebody with sparse hair. So it actually adds like dimension to your eyebrows by adding color as well as setting them in place. This is a great product for if you're in a rush. Like amazing. So as you can see, my eyebrows look fairly similar. This side with the pomade definitely looks more intense. So if you prefer the pomade side, comment down below. Or if you prefer the pencil side, comment down below. Obviously the pomade side, I've also used this which has color in it. So that's going to make it look a bit more intense as well. So you can still do the pomade, then use the clear brow freeze on top, you know, if you don't want it to be as intense, but there you go. If you wanted to like add a little bit of something extra, is get a little bit of highlight and just tap off the excess and just highlight right underneath. The other thing as well is do your easiest eyebrow first. So I've just pulled you back out just so you guys can see like the whole face, the whole look. You can see the eyebrow difference, and yeah, let me know which eyebrow you prefer. I obviously prefer my more natural side, so I prefer this eyebrow. I don't like it to look as full. I think the main thing that you guys want to do is make sure you get the right color for you. So that is some tips and tricks there for you guys to kind of like get around. I really appreciated you watching this short little video, and my next video is going to be all about eyeliner. As you can see, I've got eyeliner on right now, so I will be filming that in the future to show you guys how to do eyeliner like a pro. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do have any questions, comment below and I'll get back to you straight away. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!